35 days into the season, the Washington Huskies home opener is finally here. And on this overcast Friday afternoon in Seattle, the Dogs clash with the Oregon Ducks in what is the first ever Big Ten game for both programs. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Husky Softball Stadium, where the Ducks and the Dogs renew a long-time Pacific Northwest rivalry, but now as Big Ten foes. Both programs are off to a phenomenal start to this season. You look at the Ducks, they're ranked 8th nationally in most of the national polls. They're 24-2 overall this season. They're coming off a fantastic weekend down in Eugene. The Ducks securing a pair of wins over a top 10 Florida State squad, and they roll into Seattle today with all kinds of momentum. And now we'll let you tune in to the national anthem here in Seattle. A wonderful rendition of the national anthem in front of what is a pretty packed Husky softball stadium. It holds about 1,500 here in Seattle. There's a lot of purple and gold here for the home opener. As we touched on prior to the anthem, Oregon's riding high. Washington is too. They're on a 14-game winning streak, 20-7 on the season, and it makes for a great matchup. Thanks for joining us on Big Ten Plus. Jason Doro here with All-American Brooke Nelson. And Brooke, you've played in a few matchups between Washington and Oregon. What is this rivalry all about? 5 days for this game. 2, it's the first game as members of a new conference in the Big Ten, and now you have this top 10 Oregon team rolling into town. They've been clobbering top 10 teams of late, and the Huskies, who are kind of in this rebuild mode with 16 newcomers this season, are out to prove a whole lot this year.
I think this is a ballpark that's comfortable for both teams, honestly. No better way to start a new conference than for the Ducks, stadium that you've been to before. So for the Dogs, looking forward to, I'm sure, playing their home opener here in Seattle, and the Ducks getting started with a familiar face.
And as the Huskies take the field here, let's chat about Washington starting pitcher Sophia Ramuno, a junior from San Diego who transferred over to Washington from Cal Poly. What stands out to you about her repertoire?
I'm excited to see her compete today. You know, she stands 5'11", so she's going to come at the batters hard with her drive off the mound, and her velo let alone. She's going to spend a lot of the time up in the zone with her rise ball. Pretty good chase percentage on that with 45%. She's also got a curve, screw, and an off speed. Looking to keep batters off balance here with her rise. Her command is something that sets her apart, as we talked to head coach Heather Tarr earlier. Her command is second to none.
And comes over from Cal Poly, where she was a 2-time All-Big West selection, and the numbers are already popping off the charts. She leads the Big Ten with a strikeout-to-walk ratio, 13.17, so she's fanning hitters left and right to start the year.
With her being up in the zone, we're going to see a lot of balls hit in the air tonight, so being mindful of the wind, that's going to have a little bit of an effect here today. And
looking at the flag in the right field corner, it's hanging limp, so not too much wind today as Ramuno comes home with the first pitch here at Husky Softball Stadium this spring. Kai Luchar takes it inside, 1-0. Infield playing well inside the base paths here for the speedy Luchar. 2 balls, no strikes. Luchar ranks second in the nation in stolen bases with 30 of them this season, so the Huskies really want to keep her off the base paths. 2-0 pitch. Called for a strike on the inner half.
Talking to head coach Melissa Lombardi earlier this week, she calls Kai Luchar their spark plug. She's the one to get him on, get that leadoff runner on, looking to score here.
Also a leader for this team is a redshirt senior. Ramuno's 2-1. Also on the inner half. Count even. Yeah, the two names that Lombardi mentioned were Luchar and then Paige Sinicki. Really the captain leaders for this program. 2-2, fouled away.
Sinicki, that Golden Glove winner, the first ever for Oregon. We'll see her tonight at short.
And she's sitting in the on-deck circle right now as Luchar battles. Another 2-2. Off the plate, count full.
Right out of the gate, Ramuno commanding both sides of the plate. She starts in, works away. Wouldn't be surprised if I see something upstairs here.
Payoff pitch. Looped, shallow left field. And Peshik floats out there to make the grab for out number one.
Now, if you're the Dogs, that's a big out. Being able to keep Speedy Luchar off the base paths. Good pitch here by Ramuno, working the ball up in the zone. Peshik able to get around it and get that first out.
And that brings up Sinicki. And she's beamed on the first pitch. And it's not just Kai Luchar you want to keep off the base paths, because among the top 6 leaders in the Big Ten in stolen bases this year, 4 of them are Ducks. Oregon's already swiped 97 bags this season, and really if you let almost any one of them aboard, they become a threat. Katie Flannery swinging at the first pitch, and she loops one to the left side. Peshik with her second grab, 2 away. So Ramuno kind of in attack mode there. Runs one inside on Sinicki and then takes just one pitch to retire Flannery.
That's just a prime example of her working with her best stuff, trusting that upspin and feeding her defense here.
Riley McCoy takes a heater over the plate for strike one. McCoy, a freshman from the Los Angeles area. Real power bat, 5th in the Big Ten in home runs so far with 9 of them. Check swing, she did go, 0-2.
There's that off speed from Ramuno. Looking to keep McCoy off balance here as she leads the Ducks in home runs this season.
A lot of options here. Up 0-2 for Ramuno. Hit hard but foul. Where do you think she goes with this next pitch after McCoy makes pretty good contact on that 0-2?
I'm trusting my best stuff. I'm going upstairs, see if we can feed Peshik for the 3rd out of the inning.
Sinicki on first with 2 down. Another 0-2. Sinicki goes, pitch outside, throw down to second, just behind Sinicki, who slides in safely.
There's that run game we talked about, even with 2 outs. Trust in their speed. Got a runner in scoring position here. Looks a little bit better for McCoy here. 2 outs, runner at 2. Still speed with Sinicki at 2, looking to score here.
And Sinicki now 15 of 16 on her stolen base attempts this season, ranking 3rd in the Big Ten. And Washington head coach Heather Tarr has come out of the dugout to chat about that last call. So the Ducks now with 98 total stolen bases this season, which is already the 4th most in a single season in Oregon history. The record is 126, so they only need 29 more to set the all-time record. And Heather Tarr has induced a review of that last play. Hard to tell from up in the booth, Brooke. It looked like Sinicki beat the throw, but that tag was applied on her backside as she slid into second.
Indeed. Pretty good throw by Glab. Bubke was pinched up the middle, anticipating probably the run game a little bit there. It'll be close. There's got to be enough evidence to overturn it here.
Let's assume that Sinicki's safe. How does that change the approach for both McCoy and Ramuno with 2 down in the first?
If I'm McCoy, I'm still a little bit in protect mode. I'm down 1-2 a little bit, but still a situation that she's been before and she's comfortable. Runner at 2, trying to hit a ball up the middle and trade places with her here. If I'm Ramuno, I'm still trusting my best stuff. I've got a runner at 2. You got a great defense behind you, ready to get this third out and get those bats rolling.
Well, the length of this review proving that it probably was a very close play at second, with Sinicki sliding in just in front of the throw from Glab. Looking back at this matchup here, it's the 101st meeting between these two. A lot of history, obviously, between Washington and Oregon, and at this point in their history, it seems like both of these programs are in an exciting place. Washington building with 16 newcomers, in Oregon ranked in the top 10. Both seem to be national contenders this year.
Both have a lot of new faces. Washington only graduated 4 seniors last year, but they lost plenty to the transfer portal. Oregon actually graduated 9 seniors, so that's a large graduating class that left. So feeling more youthful for the Ducks this year. Some new faces out of the portal, some new faces as freshmen. That youthful, lively energy I think we can see and hear tonight in the first base dugout.
And the call is out at second base. The throw from Glab just barely in time. Bubke is able to tag out Sinicki, and you can take away that 98th stolen base. Sinicki's caught for just the second time this season, and the Dogs face only 3 Duck batters in the first. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, bottom of the first here in Seattle. The Husky Bats ready for their first turns at the plate here in Seattle. And Jaden Glab leads it off. Scoreless ball game as Glab faces off with Lindsey Grine, who throws a heater upstairs for ball 1. It'll be Glab, followed by Ava Carroll and Alexis DeBoer here at the top of the Washington order. That one catches the inner black, 1-1, and Brooke, they will be facing an imposing force in the circle in Lindsey Grine. She's been great so far this year.
former Virginia Tech pitcher. She's gonna gas it up a little bit with her velo. Again, primarily stays up in the zone, so that wind could be a factor for both sides of the ball here tonight. She's worked on developing that down ball to be able to complement her rise ball. She's also got that changeup to complement the two. Again, she's gonna come at you with good hard velo. She's got a quick, powerful motion, so puts the batters in a place where they got to be ready right out of the gate.
Her 2-1 fouled away. And the numbers are great for Grine. First in the Big Ten and 12th nationally in ERA at .93. And she leads the nation in wins with a flawless 13-0 record. Of course, Oregon at 24-2 this season hasn't lost many games, period. And she fans glad with a pitch upstairs.
Again, bread and butter versus bread and butter. That rise ball upstairs, up and in Jaden's hands, Jaden's eyes.
So add to the strikeout tally for Grine. Now 93 on the season. Came in 13th nationally in that category. And she'll face Ava Carroll. Carroll, a sophomore from Canby, Oregon, just south of Portland. Transferred to Washington from Mount Hood Community College. What do you think Carroll can add for the team this year?
I think she adds a lot of versatility. Earlier when we talked with head coach Heather Tarr, she talked about how Carroll had a great experience in the NWAC, but now she's figured out how to level up here at the Division I level. So I'm sure she's excited to play as a dog in the Big Ten Conference for the first time, but just how she competes and how she stays in the moment and continues to believe in herself no matter how hard the count gets is something Coach Tarr loves about her.
1-1, swing and a miss. It is impressive how seamlessly Carroll has made that transition from the NWAC to now playing at the D1 level. She's reached base safely in 15 straight games, which is the longest streak on the Husky roster right now. 1-2 sprayed foul. Well, and Coach Tarr noted for us, too, that Carroll kind of got everyone's attention right away in fall ball. The first pitch she got in fall practice, she hit a home run over the right field foul pole. It's that one to the left side, but Sinicki slides over into the hole and gobbles it up. 2 away. Not much gets past Paige Sinicki over there at short. And she started 156 straight games at shortstop for Oregon, 187 total starts in her career. 2 down, bases empty for the freshman Alexis DeBoer. And she's plunked down by the foot. The Husky fans none too pleased as they finally get their first look at the Huskies' star freshman who is just clobbering balls left and right with a dozen home runs already this year. So DeBoer's on first, and here's Sophie Mazzola. Drops down a bunt in front of home. Rosa comes out, slings it over to first, and it's in time. Just barely beats Mazzola to finish the frame. And Washington's looking to maybe challenge again, but Brooke, it looks like you thought the throw beat her.
I did. It was a good bunt. She's trusting her speed even with 2 outs, but felt like the throw beat her. It was a good bunt. It was good placement. Good timing of her feet. Nice touch off the end of the bat. On ground early, just kind of died, but strong throw by the Oregon defense.
So Heather Tarr chatting with first base umpire Tanya Gehrig. Aaron Peterson's behind home, and then Mark Corris will be at third today. And Tarr already successful on 1 challenge in the top of the first, changing a stolen base to a caught stealing. We'll see if she's able to coax the crew into another review here. And it looks like the Huskies will concede, and Mazzola and DeBoer will both go back to the dugout. So that does it for the first inning. No hits, no errors. A hit by pitch for each side, but we're scoreless so far in Seattle. Riley McCoy back at the dish to start the top of the second. She's already seen a few pitches back in the first, but Paige Sinicki was thrown out trying to steal second base, so McCoy's back at the dish now to face off with Ramuno. The right-handed junior rocks and throws upstairs for ball one.
Coming back after a half inning like this where she was up to bat last inning and then she's back up again is tough as a pitcher, but I think you just got to go with your best stuff again.
And she rips it down the line and left, just barely hanging it over the third baseman Gardner. A leadoff single for the freshman McCoy. First hit of the ball game belongs to the Ducks. And McCoy has proven she can hit for average and for power. 6th in the Big Ten in batting average to start the year, and 5th in home runs. So she's aboard, and here's Des Patman. First pitch called for a strike.
Ramuno right out of the gate, commanding that inside part of the plate, challenging the hitter's hands, challenging the hitter's eyes, looking to induce a pop-up here.
Heather Tarr said she has great command of everything in her arsenal. And that one's just above the letters.
What she also talked about, which I thought was interesting, is she has multiple out pitches. It's not just the rise, it's the out pitch. It's the curve, too. It's the off speed. We haven't seen a whole bunch of off speed here, but I would expect second time through the lineup, probably seeing that a bit more.
And it can reach the velo up to the mid-60s, but relies on that variety of pitches. Big reason why she's leading the Big Ten in strikeout to walk ratio. The 1-2. And she gets Patman for out number one.
Ramuno fired up about that one, as that's a big out for the Dogs there, as Patman looks to provide the power, but Ramuno's rise ball gets the best of her there.
So one down, still one aboard for Kedri Lushar. She swings and misses at the first pitch.
Again, right out of the gate, commanding that arm side part of the plate. Wasting no time to get ahead here.
Now the 0-1. Hammering that same side of the plate, count even. And if you're wondering at home, yes, Kedri is the sister of Kai, playing next to each other in the Duck outfield. Kedri just a year younger than Kai. Pops that one up, and it will find the seats.
fun statistical fact about Kedri. She's believed to be the first player in program history to hit 2 triples in the same inning. Not just the same game, but in the same inning. That says a lot about your offense, let alone your speed, too.
Mm-hmm. I feel for the poor researcher who's digging through the stat sheets trying to find someone, because that's not something you can just plug into Google. Who is the last Duck to have 2 triples in the same inning?
She's up to bat right now.
1-2 for Lushar. Count back to even. And she's riding a 13-game hitting streak, too. Batting .513 during that stretch. Really picked up pace 2 weekends ago at the Oregon Classic, where she batted .714 with 10 total hits in the weekend.
She's really maximizing, I think, on her opportunities this year in the starting lineup. She's getting more at-bats, but she's also maximizing on those opportunities, having her best hitting year to date.
And for the season, her clip is .462. 2-2 just barely wiggles off the plate.
There's that arm side. Ramuno wanted it. You could see the fire and the emotion up here from the booth. Must have just hung in the river just a bit.
Let's see what she does with the payoff pitch. Hit to right center field. Flores on the run. She won't get there. Mazzola knocks it down. Flores picks it up as McCoy gets around to third on the Lushar double. A couple of hits for the Ducks in the frame, and they have 2 women in scoring position with 1 down.
Little bit of a different look there. There's that curveball coming in on the hands. Looked like it just had a little bit too much plate. Lushar able to get it out in front and send it to the gap. It's a great piece of hitting by Lushar, knowing that Ramuno's probably out of room on the arm side with as many rise ball and arm side pitches that she had thrown, maybe expecting that she's going to come in.
A team-leading 8th double of the season for Kedri Lushar. And now a big opportunity for the Ducks here in the second. Stephanie Maake steps up, the DP. And this time, Ramuno goes to the other side of the plate. So what do you think of the way the Dogs are playing this defensively with the infield basically even with the base paths?
I think it's smart here in the second. The Dogs got to cut off the runs early. I think Oregon wants to get ahead first and get that momentum of scoring first here in the game. So smart defensive placement here. Probably looking at check 3, go 1, maybe check out the wheel going 4.
2-0 pitch, swing and a miss.
We see more curve balls, more balls down in the zone here. A lot of times when you get that rise ball up in the zone, it induces some pop-ups, which we've seen so far, and the sac fly is in play here with a runner at third, less than 2 outs.
2-1 count for Maake, who swings and tips it foul. Ramuno battles back to make it 2-2. The first year's batting .316. Has 8 home runs, which is top 10 in the Big Ten. 2-2. Fouled straight back. Got a better piece of that one. McCoy at third with decent speed, but a lot better speed at second with Lushar. 1 down here in the second. Another 2-2. Ramuno takes that one above the zone.
Maake's a big RBI hitter for these Ducks with 24, tied for the team lead. Great opportunity here to add 1 or 2 more. If I'm Ramuno, I'm rolling with my off speed here, looking to maybe induce a ground ball.
Couple of Ducks on the pond as this one's fluttered to center field. Mazzola comes in, makes the diving grab. Fires it to the plate. Glab squeezes it. The run comes home. A throw down to third, knocked down by Gardner. McCoy scores on the sacrifice fly from Maake, and the Ducks strike first here in the second.
That rise ball up and in on the hands. A little bit too much plate, but what a catch by Mazzola in center. Pretty impressive how Mazzola was able to catch that and get on her feet quick enough to make that throw. That being a basket catch. That's a tough play to be able to get up and make the throw right away.
Bracy Rosa at the dish, swings and misses, and she kind of had to spin around too after you make a basket catch like that. Delivered a pretty good throw to home to at least make it close, with McCoy scoring the first Duck run. Rosa takes that one high and tight.
There's been a bit of rain here in Seattle, so I would expect Mazzola probably slid a little bit, which made it probably a little bit harder to get up, maybe as fast as she wanted, but still nonetheless great play.
1-1 fouled away, and hopefully the rain isn't too bad in the next 48 hours for the remaining games in this series. Honestly, the last 36 hours haven't been so bad here in Seattle by the standard for this time of year.
I know, I'm sending good vibes with Mother Nature here.
1-2.
Ramuno looking to climb the ladder there a little bit with the rise ball, but Rosa probably looking to see the ball down here. 2 outs. Trying to punch a ball through the middle, get on top of something.
Hits this one deep down the line and left. Carroll twisting toward the corner, and she'll make the grab just in front of the 200 sign in the left field corner. So a deep fly ball is out number 3, and Washington gets out of the second. But it's not until Oregon scores 1 run on 2 hits, including a double for Kedri Lushar, and Stephanie Maake brings home Riley McCoy on a sacrifice fly. Thus it's Oregon up 1-0 as we hit the middle of the second here at Husky Softball Stadium. One nothing Ducks in the 101st meeting between Oregon and Washington. Bottom of the second here in Seattle, in what is Washington's home opener and the Big Ten opener for both programs. It's 5, 6, and 7 here for the Huskies, starting with Alicia Flores.
Flores, one of the more mature bats in the very new Washington lineup here. The transfer from Boise State and also Oklahoma. She's been able to be a part of some very successful and productive offenses. And so head coach Heather Tarr excited for what she can bring for the Dogs here in this Big Ten opener.
Yeah, it's her 6th year of college ball. Spent her first 2 collegiate seasons with the Sooners. Appeared in 22 games as a freshman. Redshirted as a sophomore. Last 3 years with Boise State. And floats that one into the netting down the third baseline. Twice named second team All-Mountain West in the last 3 seasons. So she's proven herself and is ready to deliver for this Husky lineup.
She's been holding down the fort over there in right field. I believe she started every game of her Husky career over in right, so absolutely owning it over there on the right side of the field.
And Heather Tarr likes that she has a plus arm and solid range on the defensive side of things.
Something unique about Flores is she actually gets better as the count goes on, a 1-2 count here, so excited to see her compete. You can see her just, again, battling off probably a ball, but in a 2-strike count, you're in protect mode. You got to cover anything that kind of looks like it's over the white, and Grine able to put some pressure on her with a little bit of that velo.
Grine looks at the wrist. Now ready with her 1-2. Flores battles.
This is a theme this year. She's a tough out. She's going to make you throw pitches. She's got a patient eye. She knows what she wants to swing at. So she's a tough hitter to feed into your defense, making Grine really work here in this 1-2 count.
That one drops at the last second and catches Flores looking for out number 1.
There's that off speed from Grine. We haven't seen that much yet this first time through the lineup, but great pitch call there as Flores is just battling, looking for something different, and just freezes her there.
That brings up Charity Seva-Atasi. Hits one off the end of the bat towards short. Sinicki knows exactly what to do with that. 2 away. So a long first at-bat followed by a 1-pitch at-bat with Seva-Atasi. And that brings up Jade Bubke. Grine leans in and delivers the first pitch. In there for a strike.
Grine commanding the zone early with her velo. Bubke, you can see back in the box, looking to see the ball a little bit deeper with the velo that Grine provides.
And Grine quickly jumps ahead 0-2.
Quickly jumps ahead and quickly establishes both sides of the zone, with the first strike being on the outer half and the second one on the inner half.
3 quick pitches, Bubke fanned, and that's it for the Dogs in the second. 3 strikeouts in the first 2 frames for Lindsey Grine. She's in a groove now with a couple of Ks in the frame, and the Duck Bats will come back to the plate with the momentum following a 1-2-3 inning. 1-0, Oregon leads after 2 in Seattle. Kaylin Jones swings at the first pitch here in the top of the third and sends a pop-up over to Jade Bubke at second base. 1 pitch, 1 down here. Brooke, I'm curious, as a former Husky, you're familiar with what Washington goes through at this time of year. You play in Arizona and Hawaii and lots of other warm places, and then you come home. How does the game change with the weather dynamic at play now?
Your choice of sleeves is a big factor. You see the double sleeves coming out. You see the turtlenecks.
Lushar bunts here for a single with one down, but yeah, I imagine you have to dress a little differently than you do in the desert.
Feels like your wardrobe is all over the place because you go play in Arizona and maybe you pack your light sleeves and you bring them to the ballpark, but you don't actually need them. And then we come home and you need both of them.
As far as the offense, does it change potential for home runs and power innings? Like, does the ball fly a little bit better when you're in the heat versus now you're back in mid-40s and foggy?
I think each ballpark plays a little different. Obviously, we're at sea level here, so there's no elevation advantage here for the hitters. But being a hitter, hitters typically like to hit in Husky Softball Stadium because of the nice dog eyes in center field. It gives a nice, clear visual for the hitter.
First pitch inside for Sinicki Lushar goes, and she's in safely. So that's the threat that Lushar poses anytime she gets aboard. She's almost automatically down to second base. That's her 31st stolen base of the year. That one's lined into the Husky bullpen. No balls, 2 strikes for Sinicki.
Almost caught Rabine over there. She didn't necessarily maybe see the foul ball, but she saw it at just the last second to be able to move out of the way.
Ramuno's got her pitch, the 0-2. Called strike 3. She gets Sinicki looking.
It's a perfect example of Ramuno being able to change it up just a little bit. First time through hammering that arm side, and now second time through hammering that glove side.
So 2 down, Lushar still on second, Flannery at the plate. She belts another one into the bullpen. This time they know it's coming.
It's looking like there's better foul ball production from the Ducks here. The pulled foul balls are squared up better, so I'm wondering if maybe their plan of attack on offense is just being able to keep those hands high, keep that bat flat, and turn hard versus maybe last time their hands were a bit lagged on the up.
That one rises above the zone, 1-1.
So if I'm Ramuno and I'm getting the rise, I got to make sure that that thing is spun well. But at the end of the day, you got to trust your stuff. Because in the circle, if you don't trust your stuff, it's tough.
She got Flannery to pop out to shortstop last time up, and she's ahead 1 ball and 2 strikes now. One nothing Oregon leads, top of the third, 2 down, and a 1 ball, 2 strike count for the third baseman, Katie Flannery. Loops that one behind home plate. And it's into the Husky band. Flannery, a sophomore from Birmingham, Alabama, coming off a great weekend in the Jane Sanders Classic. Batted .462 with 3 extra base hits.
She's had a hot last 2 weekends, and nothing better than you want to be able to roll into conference play feeling good at the plate.
Drives this one deep right center field, and it will leave the yard. Katie Flannery's 5th home run of the season gives the Ducks a 3-0 lead in the third.
Talk about feeling good. Flannery able to just stay over the plate and through that pitch and send it right over in the right center outfield.
And she adds to her team-leading mark in the RBI column. 26 of them now in the season. The Ducks up by a tray as McCoy tags that one to left center. She's rounding first and heading for second. And no relay comes into second base, so it's a double for McCoy, who's now got 2 hits on the day.
That was a well-struck ball by McCoy, just one hopped the outfield wall. Loved how she got it out in front. She squared it up.
Yeah, this thing was a laser beam to left center. McCoy's 5th double of the year. And it brings Brad Kilpatrick out of the dugout to chat with Ramuno.
That's a great job by McCoy. Sometimes being the next hitter up after a home run is the hardest, and so that's a great job of not needing to do anything special, just doing your job, trying to pass the bat here with 2 outs.
3-0, Oregon in front. And 3 of the last 4 Duck hitters have reached. It started with a bunt single for Kai Lushar. After Sinicki struck out, Flannery hit the 3-run bomb to right center. And then the double from McCoy. Des Patman sees the first pitch up high. The Duck right fielder is 0 for 1 with the strikeout swinging. Lays off that one downstairs, 2-0.
Missed a little bit low there on the off speed, but I like the pitch there, down a ball. Confident in her off speed regardless of the count.
(2-0). Fouled over the seats on the first base side. Patman coming to Oregon from New Mexico State, where she was the Conference USA Newcomer of the Year last season. Also got first team all-conference recognition. And she's added a lethal bat right in the middle of the Duck order. Hitting .333 for the season, slugging .667. (3-1), just barely off the plate. And there will be Ducks on first and second with 2 away still in the third.
Again, tried that off speed. Must have just missed the corner there. Ramuno trying to provide a different look. Here we go, rolling through the second part of the order.
And now she has to face the other Lushar, Kedry. Doubled her first time up. First pitch nips the low and outside corner. Ramuno still trying to snipe that spot with a lot of her first pitches. Her 0-1 is looped into the seats. Now a chance for the junior to potentially get out of the frame. (0-2) hit back up the middle. Mazzola comes in. McCoy's getting sent around from third. The throw's cut off, and the Ducks pad the lead on the RBI single from Kedry Lushar. It's 4-0 Oregon.
That count, 0-2 before that swing. That pitch just too much plate for an 0-2 count for Ramuno.
Yeah, it gave Lushar something to work with, and she capitalized. 1-0 count for Maake, who delivered a sacrifice fly her first time up. A really shallow fly ball to center, but Mazzola had to dive for it, and that gave McCoy enough time to score in the second. 1-0 offering. Sliced foul.
Maake's got the long ball in her. She's got 8 on the year. One of those at the Mary Nutter was estimated to be about 300 feet. And here in Husky Stadium, it's 200 down the line. It's 220 in dead center. So a 300-foot ball here it's splashing in Lake Washington.
Yeah, that can knock out a kayaker. on a warmer day. 1-1.
I don't know if we're seeing a lot of kayakers with this weather.
It's not that time of year yet, yeah.
Maybe in a month or so, but it's possible 300 could touch a little eagle's nest, although that eagle's nest usually sits in about center field. Haven't seen our bald eagle friends, but they're around.
1-2 pitch. And we'll keep it there. This is one of the most unique settings in college sports. And sitting right on the lake here in Seattle. And as you mentioned, the bald eagles that typically nest in the trees just beyond the center field fence.
Yeah, if you ever tune in to UW football games, you know there's that sailgating going on.
This one could be playable for Gardner at third. Yeah, making just her 4th start over there. She makes the grab and finishes off the 3rd inning. Oregon tacks on 3 runs, including a 2-run homer from Katie Flannery, and the Ducks are on top 4-0. Washington in the hole as the 8, 9, and 1 hitters come to the plate to start the bottom of the 3rd. It's 4-0. Oregon in front with 6 hits. They tallied 3 of their 4 runs in the top half of this frame. Jean Gardner leads off against Lindsey Grimes. This is one of the bigger changes for Washington's order recently.
Out due to some injuries, so our first collegiate start at third base last year.
She started the final 3 games of last weekend's tournament. The Dollars were defeated in 5 games during the course of the weekend. And once again, she's at the hot corner today. 2 strikes.
Starting her stance a bit. Looking like maybe things will turn on some
And she's got an even count now. A sophomore who hails from Seattle, went to Chief Sealth High School, was a 3-time team captain there, also twice named league MVP. Saws off the 2-2, and it's fluttered to the second baseman Jones for out number 1. This one came in on the hands.
It's a great pitch by Grind, being able to trust her stuff, spin it, being able to get it up on Gardner's hands and feed her defense with another pop-up.
4-0 Ducks here as Riley Pescick comes to the plate. 1 down, nobody aboard for the Huskies in the bottom of the 3rd.
Pescick, a transfer from Montana with her teammate Rabine in the circle for the Dogs, another pitcher, but 2 Montana transfers wearing the purple and the gold this season.
She is a PNW native, hailing from Fox Island, Washington. Went to Gig Harbor High School down by Tacoma. And her dad played football at Western Washington and baseball at Pierce College, so they know the Puget Sound area plenty well.
An athletic, competitive family I'm sure that she grew up in.
Grind ahead with a 1-ball, 2-strike count. And blows it past Pescick for out number 2. 4 strikeouts on the day now for Lindsey Grind.
Grinder's dealing the heat, spinning it up in the zone well, putting pressure on these Washington hitters. Love what I see out of Grind today.
Now she's got the top of the order for the second time today. She struck out Jaden Glab her first time up. There's another one in on the hands, but Glab is able to power it through the middle. Nice muscle to punch it through the hole. And the Huskies have their first hit of the ball game.
Like you said, Glab able to just muscle that up the middle. She got beat on the rise ball last time with the strikeout, but saying not again this time.
That brings up Ava Carroll, lined out to short her first time up. Carroll, a sophomore who Heather Tarr has said is a triple threat at the plate, can hit the ball to all parts of the field. Trying to extend a streak of 15 straight games in which she has reached base safely. And time called. One of the biggest challenges for Washington today might be that Lindsey Grind seems to be even better when she faces stiff competition. Against top 25 teams this year, she's 3-0 with a flawless ERA in 16 2/3 innings. And you imagine the intensity ratchets up even a little bit more when you have your first Big Ten game against your longtime rival.
Yeah. Head coach Melissa Lombardi talked about how the offense wants to get on the board early so they can allow their hitters to just kind of settle into a groove, that groove that we're kind of seeing right now. Grind just pitching freely, trusting her stuff, knowing that she's got a bit of a lead to work with here, able to work around the zone differently.
And the rivalry probably is a little bit newer for Grind than some of the other folks, given she is from the Chicagoland area and transferred to Oregon after a couple of seasons at Virginia Tech. But it seems like once you become a Duck or a Husky, you know this rivalry all too well.
Yeah. That rivalry, we can see the fans getting into it a little bit. I can hear their voices getting into it a little bit, trying to get something going for this Washington offense.
Hitters count for Carroll, and it's a 4-pitch walk.
Extending that reach base streak to 16 there with the walk. 2 outs, 2 on. And this is the matchup that we wanted to see. We saw it last time on the first pitch, Alexis hit. But this is, if you're a softball fan in the Pacific Northwest area, this is the matchup that you want to see, the power and the command from Grind and just the pure athleticism from Alexis DeBoer and what she's been able to do for this Washington offense.
Yeah, so the Ducks will huddle up as they are tested for the first time on the defensive side. Washington with its first hit earlier in this inning. The single from Glab up the middle, followed by the walk for Carroll. And now you have the reigning D1 softball National Player of the Week coming to the plate to face off with Lindsey Grind. Alexis DeBoer last weekend in Idaho batted .538 with 5 home runs. Yes, that was just last weekend. 5 home runs, 8 RBIs, and she walked 5 times too.
Talk about efficient.
And she takes a home run hack on the first pitch. Her slugging percentage last weekend was .769. I don't think I've ever said that for a slugging percentage. Count even. And she's on a 10-game hitting streak, 13 straight games with an RBI. The daughter of former Husky football coach Kalen DeBoer. And lays off an off-speed pitch. It's in the zone, 1-2.
Dogs all around her growing up. Her dad was the former football coach here at Washington. Now he's over at Alabama. But her high school softball coach when she was in California was actually Sarah Pickering, which is a UW alum.
And Grind wins the battle. Blows one past DeBoer upstairs and slams the door shut in the third. No runs on one hit, no errors. 2 left for the Huskies as Lindsey Grind punches out DeBoer, and it's still 4-0 Ducks in Seattle.
Pitching change.
After the Ducks cross 3 runs in the third, the Huskies will make a pitching change in the fourth. Sophia Ramuno is replaced with Riley Rabine, the sophomore from Battleground, Washington, comes in, and she'll face the 8, 9, and 1 hitters for Oregon. And Brooke, when you look at Rabine's repertoire and what she brings to the circle, what stands out?
You've got pitchers that can beat you with speed and spin, which we saw a little bit with Ramuno those last few innings. But with Rabine, her superpower is her ability to throw with 3 different speeds. She's got the rise, she's got the drop, but keeping hitters off balance with 3 different speeds. She's got velo in the mid-60s, but that elite movement up and down the zone.
And she starts off Bracy Rosa with a pitch just above the letters. Rabine, one of 2 different Montana Grizzlies who transferred to the Huskies in the offseason. And she gets Rosa to swing over that pitch, 1-1.
Rabine maybe hasn't had as many opportunities as she would have liked this far this season, as the 3 pitchers in front of her have been holding down the fort, but no better opportunity here, opening weekend. Great opportunity here. Put a 0 up on the board and get your team back in the dugout.
Yeah, it's her 9th appearance of the season. 6 of them have come out of the bullpen. She's thrown 13 innings with a solid ERA, 2.69, and a whip of 1.23. Pretty strong numbers, despite, like you said, the limited opportunities to this point. And she did throw plenty as a freshman at Montana last year, 92 innings. Rosa can't check the swing. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Rabine's not going to be probably as fiery maybe as Ramuno is, but that calm, cool, collected confidence is what her dogs are leaning on right now.
Infield and outfield both deep here for the Duck catcher, who flew out her first time up. And she's now got a full count. Rosa batting .240 on the year, slugging .560. She's got some pop when she connects. Foul tick. Count still full.
We just talked a lot about one half of the battery, but then there's the other half. You've got Glab having to rebuild the battery relationships with not a single pitcher on the Washington staff returning.
And you can see the connection there. Glab fired up as Rabine goes off speed and strikes out Rosa for out number 1.
It's a great off speed there. Just froze her on the upper half and dropped in for a strike there.
So 1 down, bases empty for Kaylin Jones, who popped out to second her first time up.
Kaylin Jones has quite a cool story. She actually started playing softball in Japan at the age of 9, her father being a fire chief for the military and government. She previously has lived in Italy, Japan, California, and most recently Texas. So what a cool athletic upbringing for her.
One and one count, and wound up playing her high school ball in the Dallas area. She was the Dallas Morning News State Player of the Year in 2023. Hit 540 that season and was the number 6 recruit in the nation coming out of high school. Loads up and fouls it away. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Jones, one of 2 freshman Ducks to start all 27 games so far this season. Maake being the other. 1-2, fouled into the foot, and that also stings.
There's no way that feels good. Whether it's the shin or the ankle, fouling it straight off into bone, just ouch.
And that's Alyssa Palomino Cardosa, the first base coach, checking on Jones before she digs back in. 4th-year assistant on Melissa Lombardi's staff. Rabine ready, infield drawn in, 1-2, too high. It's impressive what Melissa Lombardi has built now in her 7th season. A long-time assistant and associate head coach at the powerhouse Oklahoma, serving alongside Patty Gasso, and has made this Duck program better and better to the point where they're a top 10 team. That one's line foul off the hands of Palomino Cardosa.
There you see that off speed again with that 2-2 count. Quite out in front for Jones, but that's a good battle, just getting rid of that off speed and looking to see something hard here. Good battle here by Jones.
And the outfield pretty shallow here in addition to the infield. For the speedy Jones. 2-2 sails off the plate. Great battle from the freshman.
This is exactly what you want to see out of a freshman here, working deep into the count, making Rabine throw pitches, allowing the rest of your teammates to be able to just get more looks from the dugout, see what Rabine has.
Slapped right back to Rabine, who easily makes the play. And the Husky fans clapping it up for Rabine for sticking through that long at-bat.
Love Rabine's ability to field that calmly. I think sometimes a little bit overlooked, the fielding ability of a pitcher. Sometimes we see pitchers field it, and that's where a lot of sometimes throwing errors come in the circle, where we just rush the throw and overthrow the first baseman or throw it into the dirt. So nice, calm, cool, collected fielding there by Rabine.
0-1 count for Kai Lushar. 1 for 2 with a bunt single. After that bunt, she swiped second base and then scored on a 2-run homer from Katie Flannery. Taps that one foul. And she's off to the races every time, though. It really doesn't matter.
3rd time through for the Ducks, but 1st time through off of Rabine here. So new look for Lushar here. Top of the 4th.
And the Ducks got the better of Ramuno the 2nd time through. even though she was pretty solid the first time. Poked down the line and left. On top of the batting cages back there.
We talked a lot about some of these freshmen on this Oregon roster, and Kai Lushar and Paige Sinicki have done a great job in their leadership, being able to bring out the best of those freshmen, feeling comfortable and confident here as they start their collegiate careers.
She lets that one sail upstairs, 1-2. And when you have 7 freshmen, a bunch of them who are either starting or playing a lot, you need some senior leaders to kind of bring them along and help them be at their best in that first collegiate season.
It can be hard as peers to get your younger athletes to play at a high level in their first year, as your first year is a lot of learning, a lot of growing. Yes, you know the game, but you're learning the game in a different aspect per every team, different culture, sometimes different coaches. So kudos to Lushar and Sinicki for their leadership with these young ones.
2-2 fouled away, and it sure seems to be working because Oregon, to start the season, had back-to-back-to-back Big Ten Freshman of the Week, and they were all different player. Emma Cox, Stephanie Maake, and Riley McCoy won it back-to-back-to-back weeks.
Leadership is so important, and so these seniors being able to help these freshmen not skip a beat, being able to show off their skills. Off speed again, missing. Looks like a bit high, but love the speed change here.
You think these players are going to be asking for the automated ball strikes here soon on the college level?
It's possible. The game's changing, the game's growing.
Rabine liked the last pitch. Her 3-2 is rolled into left field. Lushar rounds first base. She'll stay there with her second single of the game.
Nice job by Carroll there getting the ball in, as Lushar looks to maybe take second by a lack of paying attention of Carroll, but she's on it. Great piece of hitting there by Lushar.
And a really impressive at-bat. Great battle from the original leadoff hitter for the Ducks, and now their speed demon is on first base with 2 down. First pitch for Paige Sinicki. Lushar fakes the steal and will hang out at first base for now.
We just talked about that senior leadership, and here we are, 1-2 punch, Sinicki up. Sinicki, that other piece sitting at short here today, but that leadership with those freshmen that we talked about earlier.
She's got a hit by pitch and a strikeout looking so far today. This time Lushar goes, pitch up high, throw down to second. Won't get her. You need a perfect throw off a perfect pitch to ever nab Kai Lushar.
It's a good throw by Glab, but left early.
She left early. So we'll step aside. Oregon still not pleased, but we'll break. 4-0 Ducks, halfway home in Seattle.
Grind just dealing on this Friday afternoon here. Trusting her stuff, spinning the ball up and down in the zone here. Great outing, great start to Big Ten play for the Ducks. Love what we're seeing today out of Lindsey Grind.
5 strikeouts through just 3 innings, adding to her tally now with 97 Ks on the season. She'll get the 4, 5, and 6 hitters from Washington here in the 4th as the Huskies try to cross their first run of the day. Sophie Mazzola to lead it off. She bunted her first time up and was thrown out by the catcher Rosa. Grind proving to be not only one of the best pitchers in the Big Ten, but one of the best in the nation. Tossed a 1-hit shutout with 5 strikeouts in a win against Florida State last weekend. Surrendered just 2 earned runs over 14 innings during the Jane Sanders Classic. And was the NFCA National Pitcher of the Week just a couple of weeks ago.
Grind gets better as the game goes and gets better as her career goes. Her freshman year, her ERA 4.45, last year 2.89, and now this year just started this game as .93. So competitive, fiery, just learning and growing as the game goes on. Coach Lombardi praised a lot about how good of a teammate Grind is. She's all about the team, wants to do whatever she can for the team, and just loves to compete. And I think you can see that shine through today in the circle.
That one's lifted foul down the left field line, and Grind has battled back to make it 3-2. Now she's going to be a force to be reckoned with during the Big Ten slate. I think the rest of Big Ten country won't be happy to see this righty out of Oregon. And she gets Mazzola to swing over that pitch in the dirt. Rosa picks it up and throws out Mazzola at first base for out number 1. Add to the strikeout tally, 6 Ks.
Grind just staying with what she does, staying simple, keeping her confidence, working with her best stuff, trusting that her best pitch is going to beat a Washington hitter's best swing. Grind continuing to prove that she can spin the ball really, really well.
First pitch for Alicia Flores. Right down Broadway, strike 1. Flores struck out looking her first time up. The right fielder checks her swing. 1-1. And we'll have a gathering in the circle here. Think anything specific prompted this conference here, Brooke?
Looks like she's talking to Grind, maybe talking a little bit of an approach for Flores here. Again, we talked about earlier Flores being a tough out, so maybe a little bit of a game plan adjustment per se on the pitch calling. A lot of head nodding out of the circle in that timeout, so looking like everybody's on the same page here as Coach Lombardi heads back to the dugout.
Lombardi in her 7th year at Oregon, a record of 209 and 108 during her time with the Ducks. And following 21 years on staff at Oklahoma, she guided the Sooners to 10 conference titles, 12 Women's College World Series appearances, and 4 national championships. But she said this year, we've kind of been really boring. We're just sticking to our process, and it's paying off with Oregon being 24-2.
And it's working for the Ducks, so no need to change it. Just a lot of what she talked about kind of when we talked to her earlier this week of not making it bigger than it is. Big Ten play is no different than pre-conference, and they had a pretty tough pre-conference schedule, so continuing to stick within themselves, and they play their best when their offense and defense feeds off of each other.
That one's laced up the middle. Flores gets all of it, and it's a 1-out single for the Husky right fielder.
Flores just mashes that ball up the middle, takes a hard turn, has to pump the brakes a little bit because Oregon got that ball in pretty quick, but if I'm in that Washington dugout, I'm fired up after that at-bat of Flores.
One of the most experienced players in either dugout, her 6th year of college ball, trying to provide a spark for the Washington offense.
Talk about veteran from Flores, and we got another veteran out of Charity here.
Seva Tassi takes the first pitch inside.
Hometown kid out of Auburn, Washington. She actually developed an early relationship with head coach Heather Tarr, playing for her 14U Team Seattle team when she was younger. So got an early look kind of about what being a Husky is, playing for Coach Tarr.
And a heavy cut makes it 1-1. And she was the North Puget Sound League Olympic MVP at Auburn High School. Then spent the last 4 years at Oregon State before becoming a Husky.
At Oregon State, she had kind of a tough knee injury, and she was out for a good chunk of her season at Oregon State. But during that time, she learned a lot about the game, learned a lot about how to play it from different sides. I think there's power in being able to watch the game.
And she got to a Women's College World Series in 2022. And Washington loves that she brings that postseason experience to the squad.
Absolutely. With so many new faces on this Washington roster, any sort of postseason experience that you can bring is valuable. Maddie Balk, another pitcher on staff, also has some postseason experience.
Grind locks back in and gets Seva Tassi reaching in that pitch on the outer half. 2 down in the 4th.
It's a great answer at bat from Grind, giving up that hard hit ball from Flores, but immediately responding with the K.
That was lucky number 7 for Grind today. And she jumps ahead of Jade Bubke, 0-1. Bubke squares, pulls back. Count 1-1.
Two outs here. So if I'm Bubke, I'm not trying to do anything special. I'm just trying to punch a ball up the middle and be able to pass that bat to Jane Gardner.
Off the end of the bat.
Hitting with 2 outs and a runner on sometimes can be a trap, feeling like you need to do more than what the game asks you. But I think right now the game's asking Jade Bubke to just smack a ball up the middle for a base hit and just continuing to pass the bat.
The freshman from Montgomery, Texas, waiting on a 1-2. And Grind almost snipes that lone outside corner. Instead, it's 2-2. Heather Tarr has said that Bubke has some sneaky power, plus speed once she gets on the base paths. 2-2 finds the inner black. Lindsey Grind just grinding her way through the Husky order. Tallies 3 strikeouts in that frame. She's punched out 5 in the last 2 innings, and she's got a snowman. 8 Ks so far in this ball game. 4-0 Ducks on top after 4 in Seattle. Oregon coming to the plate, already up 4-0 in the 101st meeting between the Ducks and the Dogs. And Brooke, if you'll bear with me, I thought the 101st meeting meant we should do a little Washington and Oregon 101. Washington leads this all-time series 66-34, and the Huskies here at Husky Softball Stadium are 27-18 against Oregon. The Huskies have also won 7 of the last 10, but sure looks like the Ducks are ready to turn the tables on Washington with this 4-0 lead. Sinicki slams it down the left field line into the bullpen.
Oregon's got the momentum here in this game, but also in the series. The Dogs dropped the series to Oregon last year in Eugene, so momentum in this game and the overall series. Winning the first game in a 3-game series is important. Oregon looking to do just that as we're in the top of the 5th.
They've got a healthy lead. 2-1 count for Sinicki, who has a strikeout and a hit by pitch today. Breaking ball in there for a strike. Second inning of work now for Riley Rabine, who faced the minimum last inning. Retired the first 2 batters before a single from Kai Lushar on a long at-bat. And then Lushar was called out for leaving early, attempting to steal second. Sinicki with another blast, but also foul.
That one almost got third base coach Sam Martyr over there. What a hard foul ball line drive from Sinicki, looking to time this one up here. I have a feeling we're going to see a little bit of off speed after that hard pulled foul ball.
I mean, you called it was off speed, but ripped up the middle. Leadoff single for Sinicki in the 5th.
Off speed, a little bit of a hitter's pitch, left too much white, a little bit too much up in the zone there. Sinicki doing a great job of capitalizing on that plated pitch. And there you talk about leadoff on. Sinicki with some speed, setting the table for the Ducks. Something Coach Lombardi talked a lot about for Sinicki in her senior year.
Here's Katie Flannery, who hit her 5th home run of the season last time up. A 2-run shot to right center, which gave the Ducks a 3-0 lead at the time. And she's really getting into a rhythm, coming off a weekend in which she hit .462. Launches this one foul down the left field line. Flannery had a really promising freshman season, named to the Pac-12 All-Freshman team last year. Led all Duck first years in starts and batted .340 in Pac-12 play.
Swinging a hot bat these last 2 weekends and keeping that groove here today.
Nice job by Rabine again to mix in an off-speed pitch, and she gets ahead 1-2. The sophomore righty from Battleground, Washington, just north of Portland, Oregon. Plans on majoring in journalism here at UW. Her 1-2, way up high.
Rabine looking strong in the circle, but it looks like we got right now or had a little bit of action in the bullpen. I kind of look like Morgan Reimer over there for the Huskies, getting loose a little bit.
Two-two pitch, ripped foul. Gardner was ready at third, but will hold at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Now, Washington's success so far this season has been largely predicated on the pitching staff. They came in surrendering just 2.4 runs per game, had a combined 9 shutouts so far in the year. So the big question in this one will be, can the Husky bats come alive? Fly ball, deep left field. Flannery, her 2nd home run of the afternoon. A pair of two-run shots for the Duck third baseman. And Oregon claims a 6-0 lead in the fifth.
We talked about the hot bat of Flannery earlier, and here it is again with the second home run of the game. A multiple home run game for Flannery, sending that one on the road behind left field.
Oh, what a day for Flannery. The sophomore now with 6 home runs on the season, a team leading 28 RBI. Some solid insurance for the Ducks as Riley McCoy comes to the plate.
Another opportunity for McCoy to be able to be the next batter up after a home run. You know, that can be one of the harder things to do as an offensive player, being able to produce after the long ball just like that. So curious to see what McCoy's going to do with this at-bat.
And Jaden Glab will call time to go out and chat with Riley Rabine. And you mentioned this earlier, that Glab, who had kind of been buried on the depth chart a bit behind some really stellar Husky catchers, has now solidified herself as that starter, but she's had to build a rapport with a whole bunch of different pitchers.
Yeah, midway through last year, she was probably writing a story about herself to not be a catcher anymore. She was behind catchers Sydney Stewart and Olivia Johnson. Sydney Stewart now at Arizona and Olivia Johnson over at Texas A&M. But
deep shot center field. Back-to-back jacks for the Ducks. McCoy 3 for 3 today. Tack on her 10th home run of the season. A team high for Oregon, and it's 7-0 Ducks.
McCoy showing off her power there as she sends that ball over to the dog eyes in center field. Absolutely laces that ball. Great swing by McCoy. McCoy showing her power as a freshman. Absolutely on time with that pitch and just sending it out of the yard. Talk about momentum. Talk about answering after another home run. Giving Des Patman another opportunity to respond after a home run.
And Brad Kilpatrick out to the circle to try to will the Huskies to stop the bleeding here.
Another new addition for the Dogs. 16 new faces athletically for the Huskies, but another new face on the coaching staff, Brad Kilpatrick, coming from a GA position over at the University of Florida, now on the West Coast in Seattle.
And a guy who is still playing himself as Patman takes that pitch low. Kilpatrick was named to Team USA's roster for the 2025 WBSC Men's World Cup Finals, which will be held this July in Prince Albert, Canada.
Can imagine how advantageous that is for the Dogs, being able to have a pitching coach that's still playing himself, being able to give pretty realistic looks from the left side, being a left-handed pitcher himself, offering some unique looks that some of the arms for the Huskies offer.
2-0 ripped on the ground through the hole on the left side. 4 straight hits to start the 5th for Oregon. The carousel continues as Patman reaches on the base knock.
Patman just turning on that ball, continuing the momentum here with no outs.
And we have a pinch runner coming in for Patman. Elise Crescio has replaced her at first base.
Now running at first base for Des Patman by Elise Crescio.
Honestly, feels weird that we've got this far into the ball game without many substitutions at all. Crescio comes in at first. And Kedri Lushar will bet. 2 for 2 with the single and a double.
Husky middle's pinched a bit, looking to turn a double play here, at least get the lead out, looking to get some momentum, get that first out, being able to breathe a little bit with that first out.
Grounder towards second. Bubke flips. Peshik the relay, and the Huskies get the lead runner in Crescio, but Lushar reaches with her speed.
Good double play attempt there by the Dogs. If you're Rabine, you can breathe a little bit. You know, you got your first out in that inning, so looking to continue that momentum. Bubke now pinched herself, looking to cover the steal possibly.
Here's Stephanie Maake. Sack fly her first time up, then a pop out to third. The first year from San Diego was Big Ten Freshman of the Week back in mid-February. Rabine's 1-0. Hit sharply to Gardner, gobbles it up, slings to second. There's the double play. 5-4-3, Bubke on the twist.
Hot corner for newly third base starter Jean Gardner, doing a great job of playing the hot corner well, turning the double play for her Dogs to get out of that inning. Ducks on top, 7-0, heading into the bottom of the fifth.
An uphill battle ahead for the Huskies, trailing 7-0 as we enter the bottom of the fifth. And it looks like Washington will pinch hit here, looking for a jump start. Addie Craig subbing in for Jean Gardner. Craig, a freshman from Snoqualmie, Washington, starred at Mount Si High School. Lindsey Grine has been basically untouchable, and we'll see if Craig can finally get a piece of her. Just 2 hits surrendered by Grine so far today. 8 strikeouts, 1 walk. Two-0 pitch on the outer edge.
Craig bringing some speed here for the Dogs. She ran cross country all 4 years in high school. So that speed, looking to change things up, switch something up here for the Dogs.
And she's now got a 3-1 count.
Talk about momentum, being able to get that leadoff runner on. When teams get that leadoff runner on, 80% of the time they're able to bring that runner around to score. So a lot of importance put into that leadoff batter, being Addie Craig.
And is the mentality here facing this kind of deficit? 1 pitch, 1 at bat at a time, just trying to string together some base runners?
Absolutely. It's not all going to happen in one swing, so it's your ability to be able to get on, get over, and get in, and just being gritty. Down by 7, you're not looking to change the game in one swing. You're looking to be gritty, find a way on base any way possible.
Grind dials back in and finds the zone. Count full for the freshman Craig. And she's behind the fastball. 9 strikeouts today for Lindsey Grind.
Grind just doing her thing and having fun doing it, pounding the zone with her velo, pressuring the Washington offense here to make a decision with that pinch hitter.
And the Huskies are going to shake things up again.
Now batting in the ninth spot of the order for the
Tia
Huskies,
Durst is going to bat for Riley Peshek.
Tia Durst.
So another underclassman, Durst, a sophomore from Sycamore, Illinois, just west of Chicago. Transferred to Washington from Lakeland College, a junior college in central Illinois. One ball, one strike here for the sophomore. Durst, a real team player who can wear a pitch when the team needs a base runner, can also hit in various situations. Checks her swing on the 1-1.
Durst, a player who transferred in from a junior college, where at her junior college she actually acted as the team's travel coordinator. So the Dogs doing plenty of travel right up Durst's alley.
You think Amy LaFergie ever comes to her and says, hey, I need a little advice on scheduling this different travel? You got someone who's got experience on the roster now.
I don't know about advice, but maybe can you help me out?
Can you help me out?
I can imagine her job just got tougher with traveling to schools like Penn State, Rutgers.
You got someone who knows Central Illinois. You can ask her for the best hotel in Champaign, maybe? I don't know. So Durst draws a walk, and the Huskies have a base runner.
Back to the top.
One on, one out for the top of the order, and Jaden Glab is up.
Third time through the order for the Dogs, looking to get some momentum going. Third time through. Statistically, teams hit pretty well off of pitchers third time through, but Grind probably offering a little bit of a different look third time through, I would imagine.
Glab 1 for 2 with a single and a strikeout.
That's the pitch I would anticipate to see a little bit more third time through that off speed. We saw it sprinkled in a little bit first time through, second time through, but right out of the gate, lead off Jaden Glab.
Inside heater, sawed off and foul. The walk that Grind just issued was only the second base on balls that she's given up today.
Certainly a pitcher who likes to pound the zone, trusts her stuff, trusts her defense behind her to be able to make some pretty elite plays.
Well, she's got a shortstop who started 156 straight games there and won a Rawlings Gold Glove last year, the first ever Oregon Duck to take home a Gold Glove. She knows she has some great defenders behind her. 2-2 is a spinner into the seats.
Thought maybe we were going to have a chance at catching that one.
How does it feel back here without a glove now?
A little vulnerable.
At least here at Husky softball stadium, you got the window panes protecting us in the booth.
Could imagine on a sunny day, those open. Got to keep your head on a swivel. kayakers aren't safe. We're not safe.
The kayakers and the paddleboarders have been put on notice. 3 balls, 2 strikes now for Glab. Huskies looking for a spark here in the 5th. Back-to-back balls, or back-to-back bases on balls. And the Huskies have a pair of base runners here in the 5th.
You can feel and hear a little bit of life of this crowd here in Husky Stadium. Still down 7-0, but some momentum shifting in the Dogs' direction here.
So another conference here for Oregon. With Glab on first and Durst on second. Ava Carroll about to bat, and Alexis DeBoer looming behind her. Heather Tarr certainly thinking or hoping that if Carroll can get aboard, you set the table for your lethal freshman to do some serious damage.
Absolutely, putting some base runners on for Alexis DeBoer to be able to do her thing with her swing.
And a good crowd here in Seattle, as you of course would expect, for the home opener and the Big Ten season opener for both these programs. Everybody happy to be dry today. Sitting a little below 50 degrees in Seattle. No wind today, which has made the environment a little more manageable for both sides. Grind ready to go back to work. Carroll's 0 for 1 with a line out to short and a walk. Grind just barely misses. Carroll, the reigning NWAC Player of the Year after a brilliant season at Mount Hood Community College. Big swing on the 1-0.
Looking like a little bit of action over there in the Oregon bullpen. Looks like maybe Elise Sokolsky over there getting warm.
Swing and a miss, 1-2.
If you're Ava Carroll here, you can't do anything special. You're just looking to punch a ball up the middle.
But she strikes out. 10 Ks now for Grind, and there are 2 away in the 5th.
Next up for the Huskies.
So now a rematch. DeBoer came up with 2 runners aboard in the 3rd and struck out swinging. Another crack at Grind here. Pitch in the dirt, but both runners scurry back to the bags.
Again, this is the matchup that you want to see, Grind versus DeBoer. The fans can feel it, the fans know it. Feeling a little bit more energy out of the purple and the gold here in Seattle, but Alexis DeBoer looking to do something special here for her Dogs in the bottom of the 5th.
A high school All-American at Bellevue High School. Takes the 1-0 for a strike.
And she's got a powerful swing, a swing that reminds head coach Heather Tarr of the bat of Morgan Flores and Hooch Fagali. So no better compliment than that to be able to be compared to those 2 strong hitters in Washington program history.
That one sinks low and inside. DeBoer trying to extend a 10-game hitting streak. 13 straight games with an RBI as well. Coming off the D1 Softball National Player of the Week honor for her work in Idaho last weekend. 2-1 runs inside. Hitters count now for the freshman DeBoer.
Grind wanted that arm side pitch, but home plate umpire Aaron Peterson not budging.
And Grind moves it a smidge toward the plate, and that one's in there. 3-2.
Talk about being stubborn, knowing what she wants, knowing where she wants to place that ball, and not being afraid to go there again.
Payoff pitch. Clobbered to left field. Kai Lushar retreating to the track, and she makes the grab. Well, DeBoer barrels one up that time. Just comes up a little bit short of giving the Huskies their first runs of the day. Grinds still rolling through the Husky lineup. 7-0 Ducks after 5.
force a ground ball.
3-0. It's a 4-pitch walk. Apologies for some brief technical difficulties there. And a shout out to our Big Ten Plus crew for navigating those issues here in Seattle. 7-0 Ducks, top of the 6th, and Oregon already with 2 runners aboard and nobody out. And on top of that, they have the top of the order at the plate.
Back to the top of the order for the Ducks, the left fielder, number 22, Kai Lushon.
So here's Kai Lushar. Bunts right back to Rabine. Good play by Rabine, but the throw's not in the nick of time. Lushar beats it. And there are 3 Ducks on the pond.
Lushar showing off her short game and showing off her speed all in the same at-bat. Good play, like you said, by Rabine, but not in time for Speedy Lushar.
Second
bunt single today for Kai Lushar. 3 base knocks on the afternoon. And here's Paige Sinicki. First pitch too tall. Sinicki was hit by a pitcher first time out, then struck out looking, singled in the 5th, and then scored on the Katie Flannery homer.
Run rule in effect if Ayanna Shaw over at third base can come around to score. Dogs looking to do everything in their power to stop that here with no outs, bases loaded.
And if you did not catch that during our audio difficulties, that is Shaw at third base, who pinch ran for Bracy Rosa, who singled to start the inning.
Outfield in a bit, trying to be able to throw the runner out at home.
Yeah, this is one of those situations where it's kind of like a really tight ball game where you don't want to give up a single run because of the run rule that would be in effect.
Certainly puts a little bit of pressure if that were to go into effect on the Washington offense in the bottom of the 6th.
And you have a solid hitter at the plate who will be followed by a bat that has produced 2 homers today. And this is the deadliest part of the Duck order.
If you're a Duck fan, this is exactly the part of the order that you want up in this given situation. No outs, bases loaded, 3-1 count to senior Paige Sinicki.
Melissa Lombardi told us going into this weekend that the 2, 3, and 4 hitters in the lineup are there to drive runs in and bring power to the plate. And they've done that. Gardner leaps and holds it in at third, making just her 4th start at the hot corner. She makes a nice play for out number 1.
Hot corner, and she's getting plenty of action over there, showing off her athleticism with that catch here. That's a big catch by Gardner, being able to save the run over at third.
Batting the third baseman.
So a spectacular play by Gardner, but now the Dogs have to deal with Katie Flannery. 2-run homers in each of her last 2 at-bats. And as I was saying, Brooke, Lombardi told us that 2, 3, and 4 in this lineup are there to do the damage. They have scored 6 of these 7 runs for the Ducks today.
They're there to drive in runs, and they've been doing just that for the Ducks today.
With how much team this speed has, it's sneaky how much power they have as well. They're 8th nationally in home runs, 13th in RBI.
Yeah, that's something Coach Lombardi talked a little bit about, being able to win ball games in different fashions. They can win with this long ball, they can win with the small game, they can win with their speed. So their ability to be able to try and win the game in the fashion that the game is telling them to do so. And today we've kind of seen it all. We've seen the small ball, we've seen the speed, we've certainly seen the long ball.
And with Lindsay grinding the circle, they can do it with the pitching too.
Yeah, kudos to Oregon's offense being able to let Grind just pitch freely and just fall into a groove, knowing her offense has got her back with a pretty hefty lead here.
Three 3-1 count. Rabine bounces it in. And Shaw will come home on the 5-pitch walk. That makes it 8-0 Ducks. And out comes Brad Kilpatrick.
Ramuno back in the bullpen over there, so I'm thinking maybe talking a little bit of a game plan here with Rabine, but Ramuno getting that arm warm again over there in the left field bullpen. Something to note about the stadium, that left field bullpen over there, the foul territory actually was changed a little bit to give some more room and even it out in the foul territory here. So if you're a pitcher pitching in Husky Stadium and you force a lot of foul ball pop-ups, maybe that's not something that you love, but it evens it out in terms of spacing.
Well, Heather Tard talked to us a little bit about the unique aspects of this ballpark. One, those changes to the bullpens, but also that you have a really tight backstop. And you mentioned earlier the Husky eyes, the batter's eye in center field. So pitchers and batters tend to like playing here, which you don't see very often.
No. There's plenty of stadiums around the country with low backstops where the fans kind of sit right behind the catcher's eye, and so to some pitchers that can be distracting with the fans moving around, and obviously with rivalry games the fans get into it a little bit more trying to distract the pitcher. But Husky Stadium, a pretty neutral site in terms of the circle, to where it's close, it's dark, it's a consistent color back there. Takes away a little bit of the wild pitch pass ball scoring from third opportunity unless it kicks down the line a little bit.
Riley McCoy.
So Riley McCoy steps to the dish. She's a triple away from hitting for the cycle with a single, a double, and a solo home run. That solo jack gave Oregon back-to-back jacks in the 5th. Jones on third, Lushar on second, Flannery on first. And it's now a 2-0 count.
And McCoy sitting in that 4 spot, being able to provide some power for the Ducks, and she's certainly done that this Friday afternoon.
Into double digits on the season now with 10 home runs. Leaves that one above the shoulders. McCoy, part of a fantastic recruiting class for the Ducks. Melissa Lombardi with back-to-back top 25 recruiting classes. Boy, is it paying off in a big way. 3-0's too tall. And everyone will move up. Jones comes home, 9-0 Ducks. So Des Patman is back into bat here. Elise Crescio had replaced her as a pinch runner in the 5th inning. But Patman will hit again.
And a consistent theme for some of these Duck hitters, they're in the lineup to provide some power for the Oregon offense. And Des Patman, another girl being able to have that opportunity here, drive in another run. Sac fly in effect here with less than 2 outs. Outfield in just a bit, playing a little bit for the play at 4, I would assume. Trying to limit the damage best as they can.
Rabine finds the zone.
This is a critical count here for Rabine, critical hitter. A lot of pitching coaches and defenses talk a lot about winning the 1-1 here, so this is a crucial count for Rabine.
Great breaking ball, 1-2.
And this time she wins the 1-1 with her off speed taken for a strike.
Rabine locked in with the 1-2. Now it's off the mid of Glab, but Lushar will hang at third base. Maybe one of the few runners who might actually try to score on a pass ball or a wild pitch here.
I thought she was going to do it there. She took a couple hard steps down the line. We talked about that tight backstop. Evening out the playing surface behind home plate too was a recent addition to the field. It used to have a little bit of a mound, so some of those pass balls used to skirt a little bit to the outside, so that level playing surface allows the ball to kind of just stay where it is. Definitely an advantage for the defense here.
Two-two pitch. That one's hammered but foul. So Lushar's on third, Flannery at second, McCoy on first. 13 hits for the Ducks today, leading to 9 runs. 2-2 off the end of the bat and floated into the bullpen.
That bullpen we talked a little bit about that's come on to the field territory, so that would have been right on the fence line of what the fence was last year. Giving room for a fourth bullpen over there on the third base side.
Really close quarters here at Husky Softball Stadium as Rabine finds the outer half and gets Patman looking.
There Rabine is again, flipping the off speed,
Batting the center fielder, number
catching
1.
Patman looking. Great pitch by Rabine, love it. Head coach Heather Tarr talked about Rabine's bulldog mentality, and there we see it coming to fruition. What a catch by Peschek there. Save a couple runs, give her dogs a fighting chance here in the bottom of the 6th. Love that athleticism out of Peschek. Great timing of the jump with the catch. Ducks on top, 9-0, heading into the bottom of the 6th. Run rule in effect.
Hey, fans, be sure to join us.
Washington needs at least a pair of runs here in the bottom of the 6th to extend the series opener and Big Ten Conference season opener against the Oregon Ducks. Thanks again for joining us on Big Ten Plus. It's the 4, 5, and 6 hitters here for the Huskies against Lindsey Grine, who's been dominant in the circle, scattering just 2 hits with 10 strikeouts so far today for Oregon.
Grine's dealing certainly a pitcher that certainly doesn't give up a whole bunch of hits through 7 innings. As we see, through 6, she's only given up 2. Her average 3.29 per 7 innings pitched.
1-1 count for Sophie Mazzola. And is there something about her game that stands out most to you?
I think it's just her ability to trust her stuff and not be anything more than herself, not needing to be somebody else, but being Lindsey Grine here.
I mean, she's been unshakable. Couple of innings where the Dogs put 2 aboard, but every time she's been able to wiggle out of the jam. One-two pitch. Hit to third. Flannery's on top of it, and a missile across the diamond gets out number 1.
Batting second, the right fielder, number 27, Alicia.
That brings up Alicia Flores. 1 for 2 with a strikeout and a single. So Oregon with this lead on the verge of snapping Washington's 14-game winning streak. And the Huskies 20-7 coming into this ball game. Finally able to play at home for the first time this season. But the Ducks have given them a rude awakening in their home opener. Count 1-1 now for Flores.
Under that one for Flores. Hard hit foul ball, which went right over our heads.
You're gonna bring your glove tomorrow?
We'll see. It's a strong possibility. I'm certainly leaving my kayak at home.
Okay. Since we just saw the UW rowers go through Union Bay just beyond left field, but no kayakers, and I don't anticipate them for a while.
It's a little too cold for that.
Two and 1 count. Playable for Grine. She'll take care of it herself. And the Dogs down to their last down. So while Washington's winning streak is likely to come to a halt, Oregon's going to add to their mighty impressive resume. 24-2 to start the year. Their only losses coming at the hands of Oregon State last weekend and a loss at Arizona State back in mid-February, the day before Valentine's Day. One and 0 count for Charity Seva Atasi, who's 0 for 2 in this ball game. In on the hands, 1-1. What's impressive too for Oregon, they have 4 ranked wins. They've been playing plenty of tough foes through the first 5 weeks of the season. It's a big reason why they're ranked 8th in the nation.
Ranked wins as a team, but again, continuing to talk about Grine, she's 3-0 in the circle, 0 ERA with 4 games versus top 25 opponents this season. So that alone is impressive. Impressive wins as teams, but super impressed with Grine in the circle today and this season thus far.
Grine ahead 1-2. And she closes the game with a strikeout. 11 Ks for Lindsey Grine.
And thus concludes.
And she produces a 9-0 shutout victory for the Ducks as Oregon spoils Washington's home opener.
Thanks so much for joining us tonight, and please be sure to join us.
The Ducks out-hit the Dogs 13-2 en route to this 9-0 victory, and one of the best pitching performances we'll probably see in Big Ten play.
Oregon plays best when their offense and defense bounce back and forth off of each other, and certainly did just that this Friday afternoon in Seattle.
And Riley McCoy reaches 4 times, and Katie Flannery homers twice. Big shout out to our Big Ten Plus crew for all their work behind the scenes on this one. And a shout out to you, Brooke, on your first broadcast.